Welcome everyone. It has been a busy week and we've got a lot to talk about. So, getting straight into it, one of the things I've been working on is a Gundam artifact kit. So I've snapped this together, and not a lot of you would have known what a Gundam artifact kit is because it's not widely advertised outside of Japan. Think Gashapon / precursor to the miniature war game they've got. I think this is a series 2, or no, series 1 I think. So what we've got in here, we've got the Rick Diaz, EXS, Hainu, Nightingale and Barland. I just put that back there. So this is the Hainu. Bring that nice and close to the camera so you can have a look. Now these are proper little fiddly little model kits that are not necessarily like Gunpla. They're for painting, as you can tell, all mono colour, still polystyrene, but yeah, they're more for painting. So scale size difference, high grade, and the artifact kit. I think they worked out that they're not exactly the same scale, all of them, but I think they're about 1 to 350 to 1 to 400 scale. And one of the things I want to talk about this week is gap filling. So I've got, let's use one of these parts as a better example. As you can see, this fin funnel is not the best for gaps. So one of the things I've got to use, lovely sound effects, is a Mr. Hobby dissolved putty. So what we do, and this stinks to high heaven because it's plastic melted into plastic glue. So what we do, make sure you guys can see this, is just dab it along the seam. And what you do then, when that's dry, just so you can see with it, wait for it to dry, and then you sand it flush. Just put that back on there. Sand it flush, so you can see there by there I've done that. It doesn't look like the seams are completely filled in, but you run your finger over it, it does make a smooth surface that when you put the primer on, it covers nicely and looks completely smooth. So yeah, that's one of the little things I'm going to work on over the next couple of months when I get time, because there's a lot of bigger projects on the go. So one of the things I talked about last week that I wanted to make sure I started on was the Fenix, and it is super duper fiddly, super duper shiny, and I've bought, where did I put it? Yeah, there we go. I've bought a Bandai yellow gold Gundam marker because, I don't know if you can see this, let me zoom in with my camera, the nub marks right by there are absolutely disgusting on this kit. It's of course a kit that Bandai decided to plate after they designed the molds, so yeah. And then this Gundam marker is supposed to be the same colour. I found it's not a great match, but for when it's going to go on the shelf, it's perfectly fine. So I think a little dab on there too. What I might do then is buff that out. see how it looks afterwards. I'm not overly convinced this is the best thing in the world, but it'll do a job. So that is essentially the master grid I've been working on. I'm saving one thing right till the end, so here we go. The other thing we've been working on, I have to go back to zoom out wide for this, 3D printing. So I've got the last little bit on the printer as it is, but this is a Vallejo painting stand. Let me see my paints rather than in the not very good little box I've got going on. So that's a bit of a win. That will be finished this week now. We did another little bit of shopping to Cardiff, which was nice. I picked up some Mr. Hobby paints. Now these are really good for airbrushing. I like to thin them 1-to-1 with 99% IPA. They go through my airbrush the way I've got it set up right now quite nicely, so I'm not going to mess with that. And then the big project has started. So my Gundam Builders World Cup 2025, or 13th, let's clear some room out here so you can see it all properly, is going to be, let's get this nice big zoom out, a Gundam Unicorn, but not just one Gundam Unicorn, 2 Gundam Unicorns. I get these on yet. So there's a very specific scene right at the end of the universe, the Unicorn series, where I'm not going to play the clip because I don't want to get demonetized, but essentially they've turned a colony into a laser that then they use to destroy another colony. But just by chance, it's using the same frequency as the cycle frame in the Unicorn and the Banshee. So the Unicorn, in a last-ditch effort to save the colony, braces itself, and they use the 3 shields on the Unicorn. They sort of marry up in a fashion per se, and create the first cycle frame shield, and then the Unicorn takes the next hit, and the Banshee behind with his leg missing takes the 3rd hit. And what I've got, another little special book, is the RE 0096 Mechanic Complete book, which is a very nice little art book showing all the different unicorns and stuff like that. So what we're looking to do is this by here. So if I bring that nice and close. So something to do with the cycle frame. When it gets activated, it turns crystals into crystals things, and they come out of the frame, and it's all fancy and nice looking. But I'm thinking my diorama is going to be the full 50 by 50 by 50. I'm going to do a different scale bit of colony, and then we've got, if I can see, I can find a bit of the art quickly. So all the different unicorns. The full armor unicorn, unicorn in cage, the Banshee, with his leg missing from that final scene, armed armor DE. But no, I can't find the picture of the unicorn crystallized in the art. I was looking earlier. Wait a second. There we go. That's another shot of what happens. And of course I can't read Japanese, so I can't tell what any of these are saying. Explanation of the story, I'm guessing, and where it happens and what happens and when. But yeah, so imagine the final scene. And the other thing I've got then, as a bit of a plan, is I'm going to sort of model the outside, so if you imagine, it's not probably not going to translate well on the camera, but they are in line with it. That with the very outside of the beam from that, and a fade in, so it doesn't quite reach the model, but it gives you the idea of a ring around the model, sort of just after it's happened, if that makes sense. So it's dissipating. Yeah, I'm going to do an out of scale colony at the back, maybe a bit of the Magellan at the front. I think a good bit of sculpting work to make the crystals on this unicorn could really work. But it's going to take a damn lot of sculpting to get working right, which is why I've started now. Right, and then one last thing to show is, this is for my card game family. So my local card game shop is the Collector Sector, and over the last year we've built quite a good little community of Yu-Gi-Oh players. Not meta chasing, but good bit of fun, good bit of banter. And Valley's Con is in February. So one thing I've suggested, or I've offered to do, is I'm going to make these field centers. So they're the same size as a Yu-Gi-Oh, well, hang on, a Lorcana card, which is to say, weirdly, Yu-Gi-Oh uses field centers the same size as a Pokemon card on Magic and Lorcana, but then a Yu-Gi-Oh card is smaller, which it doesn't make any sense in my head, but there we go. So these are sort of a commemorative item I'm working on for the original 8 or 9 of us that were playing consistently at the start, and then potentially going to do a gold one then for the winner of the Valley's Con tournament, which, yeah, that's going to be interesting. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. I'm not sure what I've got planned for the rest of the week. So it's Sunday night now. This will be out tomorrow morning or this evening, depending on how I get on. Yeah, so I think next week, or the week that's coming up, I'm going to try and get this Fenix finished. I've not got a lot left on that. It's the hips and the legs, and then the 2 armed armors. I might really start sculpting some of the crystals. I'm going to do a trial run, I think, where I take a part of a sort of lay a bit of cling film over, sculpt, sort of press some mold. I can't remember what I'm going to use. My sculpting putty. I'm going to sculpt some of that over, let it cure, take it away, and then I think I'm going to file it away first to see how the crystals look for that. Do one little bit first and then see how it goes. Because I think the plan is airbrush all of the white and then hand paint all of the exposed crystal frame. Try and do use my miniature painting stuff to then really push that. I've spoken to a couple of people about it already, and they seem to think I'm onto something. Whether or not it's anything good is yet to be judged, but we'll see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, yeah. So next week could be interesting. Could be nothing. Could be lots. We don't know. Right. Diolch, Dabor, a nos da.